What do Luke Skywalker, the Elephant Man, and Mozart have in common? Well, each one is a character played by Mark Hamill, either in the movies or on stage, and he is about to add another Broadway credit to the list. It's the Nerd. And Mark Hamill joins us this morning. You are not actually the nerd in the play, are you?
No, actually the nerd is Robert Joy. But doing this play, I've discovered that nerdiness is in the eye of the beholder. I'm sort of a Brooks Brothers nerd, and if we can put it in cola terms, Robert Joy is nerd classic. It's the story of a man whose life was saved by someone in Vietnam. And when he wakes up in the hospital, the man's already been shipped back, so he writes him a letter and says, if you ever need a place to stay, money, I owe you my life, anything. 10 years later, the guy shows up, and he's from Jupiter. I mean, you can't be in the same room with him, okay? Drives you up the wall, plays the tambourine in the middle of the night. I don't want to give too much away, but it was a very difficult play to rehearse because I laughed so much, and it wasn't, so much. There are very, very funny lines. Peter Rieger plays an acerbic small-town critic, and he's wonderful, and he has wonderful one-liners. And Robert Joy, is just such a funny character.
Could you explain how Hugh Downs was implicated?
Well, that would actually be giving away a kind of a nice moment at the very end, but I think you should come down and see why he was implicated.
Right. Suffice it to say that in the London production, Donny Osmond was implicated.
That's right. I asked the producer, I said, who did you use for Hugh Downs? Because they're not familiar with Hugh Downs. And he said, Donny Osmond, I believe.
Right. I probably summed it up.
They're sort of interchangeable here, aren't they?
What is the modesty factor? You don't look at the audience, so you can't make eye contact with the audience for rather personal reasons.
Well, it sort of destroys the illusion. At one point in the play, I come out of the shower and I'm towel drying my hair and I'm in my underwear and my T-shirt. And we did the gypsy run-through. I walked out and all I could think of was 600 people looking at me in my underwear.
There's Mark Hamill in his underwear.
And you mustn't. You really mustn't. In fact, to me, this is not a comedy. It's a tragedy. He is ruining my life. And it's about loyalty. How much will you do for someone who saved your life, even though he's destroying your existence? And it doesn't help. Let me tell you something about Charles Nelson Riley. Don't be fooled by the dog food commercials and the game shows. This guy knows more about theater than practically anyone I've ever worked with. The thing is, he makes notes funny. You know what I'm saying? He can take a story about opening up a box of Kleenex and have you on the floor. So you come in, you get the drinky poos, and you sit down. And you're going, stop. He's tearing my performance up, and I'm on the floor.
Why don't we see you more in movies?
I want to do good parts. You see, I don't have any career plan as such. If this were a movie, I'd go after it. And the Nerd I'm talking about. I just go after good parts. And at this point in my career, I'll tell you, I was 30 when I stopped doing the Star Wars movies, and I was still getting coming-of-age films. I thought, you guys, I don't want to do science fiction anymore. So what I am is I'm on the second tier in Hollywood. I get offered obvious copies of Raiders, of Porky's, of those stabbing movies. And I thought, why do that? I have two sons. You don't want to be embarrassed 6 months later when they show up on cable. Just do good parts. If they're on radio, do them on radio. If they're on TV, don't be snobbish about the medium.
I was surprised that Mark Hamill auditioned for this part. That's the expectation that Mark Hamill sits at home, they get the phone call and says, please, do my play, The Nerd. No, you have to
I would say that the things that they ask me, will you just do them, are usually the things that you don't want to do. It's hard, but no, I read this script. It made me laugh out loud. It's probably the funniest play I've read since The Odd Couple. A play it somewhat resembles. We're sort of a mutant odd couple. But no, I went after it. So I went and I auditioned, and I stood up and I got the part. And I sometimes think it's not that I get the part because of George Lucas's movies. I get them in spite of them.
The Nerd, a mutant odd couple. Mark Hamill. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
And good luck with it.
Thank you.
We'll be back after a message.
KSEE Fresno.